Smackdown starts off with Jacob Fatu. He ends up mentioning last week promo segment between him and Roman Reigns. Ends up mentioning how Roman is doubting him and that people have been doubting him his entire life. Then you end up getting the Usos. They come out. You get Jimmy Uso trying to convince Jacob to not do the match, that he needs to join the family because the family could easily get him into the position that he wants to be for his family in terms of more money, better schooling, providing for his kids, etc. Then you end up getting Solo Sikoa. He comes out with the MFTs. He basically ends up saying that you can't trust the Usos and that he shouldn't listen to him and that he should listen to him instead. Ends up mentioning that the Usos are just going to betray him. And then he ends up mentioning that he can't beat Roman on his own. He needs an army. He needs a family. And that he said, basically ends up saying that we can help you out. The MFTs can basically help you out, defeat Roman Reigns eventually. Jacob basically ends up saying that, look, he's not trying to listen to none of that. The only person he's trying to talk to is Roman. Tama Tonga ends up interrupting Solo, if I'm not mistaken, took the microphone, ends up saying that you're wasting your time with Jacob and that Jacob can't even beat you, so how can he beat Roman? Then Jacob Fatu attacks Tama Tonga. Then Jacob challenged Solo in the main event. The match ended up happening. I did not watch this match because we already knew what the outcome of the match was. Plus, I'm just not interested in any Solo feuds. I like Solo, but any person he feuds with, it doesn't work out well for him or the other person. It just doesn't do anything for them. Mainly due to how WWE books Solo in his feuds. Triple H just books them so boring to the point where he doesn't benefit nobody. But he loses. Jacob Fatu picks up the victory. After the match, you end up getting the MFTs attacking Jacob, but Jacob ends up overpowering them and ends up standing tall in the end, and the Usos ended up just watching, and that was the end of the show. I kind of like the direction they're going in. I hope that they're not about to just repeat Bloodline with just having Jacob Fatu joining the family in like the Solo Sikoa role. I hope that's not the case. I'm assuming that's probably going to be what they're going to go down in terms of this path where Jacob loses the championship match prop at Backlash. Then he joins the family joins the family. And then eventually we get some dissension, and then people start turning later down the line. I'm assuming that's probably the route they're going. But we'll see eventually how this plays out. We'll see the slow burn and see eventually if Jacob joins the family or he refuses. We'll see eventually how this goes. I hope Solo is not a part of this new bloodline. We do not need Solo. Solo should be doing his own thing. I don't really like the MFTs, but I'd rather him do the MFTs than him just going back to the bloodline. I think this new addition of the bloodline with Jacob could be interesting depending on how they book it. So we'll see how this unfolds. Afterwards, we end up getting a Women's United States Championship match between Tiffany Stratton and Julia. We finally end up getting this match for the U.S. title. For the longest time, they kept teasing, kept on promoting this match, but kept on changing it at the last second. We finally get the match. Women's United States Championship match between Tiffany and Julia. This was a solid match. I actually enjoyed this match. Better than the first match that they ended up having, which is a good thing. This was a solid match. Tiffany Stratton do end up picking the victory, which I do think is the right choice. Let's just hope that they actually put some effort into it. WWE seems to be very high on Tiffany Stratton. They put the rocket to her last year, becoming Women's World Champion. And they actually tried. They tried booking her. They really did. They gave her a 300-day plus reign. They ended up giving her a bunch of title defenses. So they actually tried with Tiffany Stratton in terms of her title reign. It wasn't that good, but it was mainly because she had no opponents. So they actually tried with Tiffany Stratton. So let's hope that with this U.S. title reign, they put some effort into it. Let's hope they could get on a PLE, which is very unlikely due to them only having 5 matches on PLE. But with Tiffany Stratton, it definitely has a higher ceiling than it does with Julia, especially with Tiffany being more over. WWE is definitely a lot higher on Tiffany, has better booking than Julia. So I will say that I do have a little hope that they're going to actually push Tiffany with the U.S. title. But again, based off the history they have shown, that most likely they're not going to do anything. But Tiffany Stratton is the biggest star that has ever held the U.S. title. So that could be a good thing, because typically the women that has held it before never had the star power compared to Tiffany or even close to Tiffany. So this could be a good thing that Tiffany is holding it. Hopefully they actually book her, have her have some feuds, have some defenses, have her eventually get on the PLE. Most likely not based off the history, but hopefully she could get on the PLE this year. But nonetheless, I did like the match overall, and I do think Tiffany Stratton is the correct choice. What you do with Julia, I don't know, because they haven't done anything with Julia since she's on the main roster. I don't really know what's next for her. I don't know if you turn her babyface. I don't know if she goes after the U.S. title, put her in the main event scene. I really don't know what you do with Julia. She's just kind of stuck, to be honest with you. And I don't blame WWE fully for it. I do think part of it is her fault due to her lacking certain things and not having certain things to get her over, but it also is WWE fault with terrible booking. So we'll eventually see what's next for Julia, but I am somewhat excited for Tiffany Stratton as Women's U.S. Champion. We end up getting a quick segment between Paige, Brie Bella, Charlotte Flair, and Alexa Bliss. They're in the ring. You get Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. They want a tag team championship opportunity. Paige and Brie ended up accepting the match. The match does end up happening, but ends up getting interrupted by the new and debuting Fatal Influence. Fatal Influence make their debut. They attack Paige, attack Brie Bella. They attack Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. This is a perfect way to debut. You attack 4 of the top women in the tag team division, 4 Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers. This is a great way to debut on the show. And I'm glad that they call all of Fatal Influence. This is perfect. I hated the argument that people were saying Lainey Reed shouldn't get called up because she's not ready. I'm like, bro, we had Jade Cargill debut. I'm sorry. If you have Jade Cargill debut, Lainey Reed can debut. Like, especially in a tag team division. So this was a perfect way. Perfect way. They got nuclear heel heat. This gave me flashbacks of like 2023 Dominic Mysterio Judgment Day heel heat. Like, they were getting booed out the building. They was getting booed heavy in this segment and in the next segment later on in the show. This was a great way to debut. This is how you debut some NXT call-ups. This is how you build for the future. Let's just hope they can continue the momentum and don't ruin them with some bad booking. Let's just hope they can continue the momentum and don't put them in any boring, over long-term storytelling booking feuds. Let's just hope that they're able to continue this momentum, but this is a great way to debut. We end up getting a tag team championship match between Damian Priest, R-Truth versus the MFTs. This match was fine. It was a solid match. I'm not going to speak too much about it. I really just want to speak about Damian Priest and R-Truth. I'm actually enjoying their tag team reign. I'm really enjoying it. I love the pairing. I like what they've been doing with their booking. I like that they've been showcased every week, getting consistent TV time, constantly defending the titles. This is like their 3rd or 4th title defense in like a month, which is kind of crazy because most champions are not defending their titles that often, but they're constantly giving them constant TV time, constant championship opportunities, which I am enjoying because when the MOTs and the Y6 were holding it, the championships always felt like an afterthought. They don't really feel like an afterthought. Now, I won't say they feel important, no, but that takes time. Plus, they have Damian Priest and R-Truth holding them, so they're not going to feel the most important when you have R-Truth as your champion. But I do like what they're doing. I like the consistent booking. I like them constantly defending their titles, and I love the pairing with them constantly getting multiple segments a week for the most part. They didn't get that many. They didn't get segments this week, but they end up getting a match, so that makes up for it. But I like what they're doing here. I hope they continue this path of them constantly getting championship matches because they're never going to get on a PLE most likely. So if they continue to defend their titles on SmackDown, giving us solid matches, some funny moments, I like it personally. This is a step up and an improvement from what they was doing with the MFTs and the Y6. It's a huge improvement from what they was doing with the MFTs and the Y6. I hope they continue on this trajectory of them just keep on improving with their booking with the tag team titles. Because the tag team titles, it's not the most prestigious or it doesn't feel the most important, but it is entertaining to watch week to week. So I am happy for Damian Priest and R-Truth, and I'm actually hoping they continue with their title reign. We end up getting a Trick Williams segment. He comes out with Lil Yachty, comes out with the Gingerbread Man. He ends up, having his little celebration of him, becoming U.S. champion. Then eventually we end up getting the Gingerbread Man attacking Trick Williams and Lil Yachty. It ended up being revealed that it was Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn attacks both Trick Williams and Lil Yachty. And then basically he ends up leaving the ring, ends up saying that this isn't over. I like this personally. Now, I don't know if this is a full heel turn. A lot of people keep thinking that at WrestleMania they did a double turn, which I don't think they did. Like, I don't see where people are saying that they did a double turn at Mania. I just don't see it. Just because one's getting booed and one's getting cheered, that's not a double turn. But this may be the official heel turn. I'm not really sure yet. I got to see what Sami Zayn says next week. I got to see how he acts, his motives, because I'm not sure if he's fully heel yet. I think he's slowly becoming heel, but I don't think he's fully there yet, especially because I need to wait until it cheats in the match. Him taking advantage of opportunities in the match, good. I need to see him cheat. I need to see him cheat for me to fully believe he's heel. But I like what they're doing with Sami. It looks like WWE Triple H is fully embracing heel Sami Zayn, which is the correct move. It's the right play. Embrace the full heel. Personally, it wouldn't even be bad if he beats Trick Williams to really put over this heel character. Have him constantly, bring up the fans, constantly belittle the fans, constantly complain about the fans, and constantly bring up that more heel heat that he defeats not only Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams for the U.S. title. That's going to give him way more heel heat personally. So I'm actually very interested in this story and where this could go. But one thing I would say, can we please get rid of the Gingerbread Man? Please get rid of that. I liked it in this segment, but after this segment, we need to stop it. It doesn't need to return after this show. It does not need to return. So please do not return the gingerbread man afterwards. It was a funny, not really funny joke at first. Now it's getting a bit overplayed. So it was good in this segment due to Sami Zayn, but do not bring it up again. But overall, I'm very excited to see what's next between Trick Williams and Sami Zayn. The most interesting thing on the show, Rhea Ripley ends up cutting a promo, very short promo. She ends up mentioning how she wants to be a fighting champion, which I did find very surprising, mainly because due to the SmackDown women's division, I don't know who she's going to be facing to be a fighting champion. So I don't know how she's going to be a fighting champion with that SmackDown roster, but we'll see how that plays out. She ends up calling out women from the locker room to challenge her, and we end up getting Fatal Influence, which is perfect. Fatal Influence comes out, Jacy Jayne basically wants to call her shot. She ends up mentioning, Fatal Influence, how they're going to take over SmackDown. Rhea Ripley responds back, ends up mentioning the numbers games, and mentioning that the numbers games doesn't affect her due to her being world champion, due to her winning at Mania, due to the numbers game. Fatal Influence Jacy Jayne ends up basically saying that Fatal Influence isn't like anything you faced before. And the match ended up being official due to Nick Aldis confirming the match. It wasn't for the title, which I was very confused by. I kind of wish it was for the title because the whole reason Jacy came out was due to the fact Rhea Ripley ends up mentioning she wanted to be a fighting champion. Kind of wish they would have put the title on line for that to be her first title defense. But due to how the match ended up playing out, it wasn't that big of a deal. The match was really good. This was a really good match. Really good back and forth between these two. Really love what they did here. Towards the end of the match, you end up getting a disqualification. Fatal Influence, Laney Reed, Fallon Henley interfere in the match. Ends up causing a DQ. And then they end up attacking Rhea Ripley. This was perfectly executed. Now, they end up basically doing kind of what they did on Raw, just a little bit differently, with Sol Ruka getting a DQ finish, this getting a DQ finish. But I understand why they did it. They wanted to protect the champion, but protect the NXT call-ups. It makes perfect sense. The fact that they're already putting Jacy Jayne and Sol Ruka in these spots is amazing. It's absolutely perfect because I was fearful of Jacy Jayne. I didn't think they was going to push Jacy Jayne the way they're pushing her now. I was kind of fearful that they weren't going to give her the special treatment that she deserves. I kind of felt like they was going to give her like that Lyra Valkyria treatment. Kind of like right now Lyra, not Lyra when she was IC champion. Kind of like the way they're booking Lyra now, I kind of felt like that's what they was going to do with Jacy. So glad they're giving these opportunities. And the fact that they're putting her in this situation already tells me that they're hiring her, because they don't put you in these positions if they're not hiring you. They did this with Carmelo Hayes, with Cody Rhodes being his first match. Did it with Sol Ruka. They did it with Braun Breaker, putting him with Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn, IC Championship. So they clearly see something with Jacy Jayne, and I'm very happy that she's getting this push. Fatal Influence is definitely going to make the show a lot better, because SmackDown desperately needs talent. They desperately need talent. They desperately need women talent, and Fatal Influence is going to make that show a lot better. Fatal Influence was the best thing about NXT for the longest time, and I can't wait for them to really spark some life into SmackDown, because this show was actually really good. This show was actually pretty solid. For once, SmackDown was not trash, and a big reason for that was Fatal Influence, and they was getting major heel heat in this promo. Now, I don't know, were they getting heel heat because they was going after Rhea, or they was getting heel heat due to what they did to the women's tag team champions with Paige and Brie Bella. So I hope that heel heat could continue for next week's SmackDown, but overall, this is a perfect way how to debut NXT call-ups. Overall, SmackDown, I thought, was a really good show. This is one of the best SmackDowns they have had in a very long time. It's still a bit long with the 3 hours, but overall show was actually a good, solid show for the most part. But you guys let me know your overall thoughts and opinions down below. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my content. But yeah, that's it.